Have you ever thought about how one tiny decision could completely change history? We're about to go on a journey into a fascinating what-if scenario, an alternate timeline for the Olympic Games where summer and winter sports never went their separate ways.
So let's just ask the big question right up front. What if the Summer and Winter Olympics never split? Just think about that for a second. Every 2 years, the entire world comes together for one massive unified Olympic festival that mixes, summer sun with winter snow. It's a wild thought.
Okay, so where does a story like this even begin? Well, it all hinges on one critical moment back in 1986. A single vote by the International Olympic Committee that created the world we live in and the very different one we're about to explore.
Right, let's pinpoint that exact fork in the road. In the 80s, the Games were held in the same year, but on October 14, 1986, the IOC voted to stagger them. That's the reality we know. But in our alternate timeline, that vote fails, the Games stay unified, and this paves the way for a totally new concept, a co-hosted Olympic mega-event kicking off in 1994.
Now, a model like this completely changes who gets to host. We see some familiar names, cities that hosted in our world, but we also get a ton of brand new contenders who get their shot at Olympic glory on this alternate stage. So, check this out. This new co-hosting system really shakes up the host city list. On the right, you've got our alternate timeline. Suddenly, cities that could never dream of hosting both summer and winter events by themselves can now team up and share the spotlight. And honestly, it creates some absolutely incredible pairings.
Let's quickly break down those little asterisks, because they tell a really cool story. In this timeline, Rio de Janeiro gets its Olympic moment way earlier, in '94 instead of 2016. Cortina d'Ampezzo, which is set to co-host in 2026 in our world, gets the Games back in 1996 here. And Seoul, after its big success in '88, it comes back to co-host again in 2006. This just proves how co-hosting opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
So, you're probably wondering, what did these co-hosted games even look like? All right, let's take a little visual trip through this alternate Olympic history and see how these crazy city pairings created their own unique brands.
First up, 1994. You've got the cool geometric logo of Lillehammer, which just screams northern lights and snowflakes, and it's paired with the warm, flowing, and super vibrant design from Rio. It's a perfect festival of fire and ice to kick things off.
And then in 1996, we get this amazing mix of tradition and art. Cortina d'Ampezzo's logo is this intricate snowflake that looks like a piece of handcrafted Italian art. And on the other side, you have Atlanta's iconic flame, celebrating 100 years of the modern games. It's a pairing that literally bridges continents and Olympic history.
For 1998, the contrast gets even more interesting. Nagano's logo is this delicate snowflower that represents the winter athletes. And its partner city, Manchester, uses a logo that's all about the city's bold industrial and architectural past. It's a beautiful clash between nature and the man-made world.
For the big Millennium celebration, we're off to Sofia, Bulgaria and Sydney, Australia. Sofia's logo is just packed with national pride, right? It's got the Bulgarian flag, a mountain peak, a snowflake, it's all in there. And that gets paired with Sydney's Millennium Man, that fluid boomerang figure that just perfectly captured the motion and energy of the Summer Games.
Okay, 2002 brings us two incredibly cool and culturally rich designs from Salt Lake City and Glasgow. Salt Lake's logo is this sharp, crystal-like snowflake, and that's contrasted with Glasgow's fiery, passionate flame. There's a lot more going on with this one, and trust me, we're going to circle back to this pair in just a minute. This one is a perfect example of old meets new. For 2004, you get Chamonix, France, with this crisp, modern logo showing the peaks of Mont Blanc, and it's co-hosted with Athens, Greece, which goes right back to the roots of the Olympics with a beautiful, hand-drawn olive wreath. I mean, you can't get more classic than that. Modernism and classicism, right there, side by side.
And our visual tour wraps up in 2006 with Turin, Italy, and Seoul, South Korea. Turin's logo is this really sleek, abstract take on its famous landmark, the Mole Antonelliana, but it's stylized to look like a mountain and a network of connections. And then Seoul's logo is just pure energy, this calligraphic brush stroke of an athlete in motion, just captures that summer dynamism perfectly.
All right, let's go back and zoom in on that 2002 pairing, Salt Lake City and Glasgow. Because if we take a closer look at their logos, we can really get a feel for the whole spirit of these co-hosted games and what made them so special in this alternate universe.
So, let's start with Glasgow.
At first, you just see an Olympic flame, right? But look closer. Woven right into that design is a classic Scottish tartan pattern. It's such a clever way to fuse that ancient national identity with the modern, global spirit of the Olympics.
Now, over to Salt Lake City's logo. See, that's not just any snowflake. It's designed to look like a crystal, inspired by that famously dry powder snow they have in the region. And the colors, the yellow, orange, and blue, they're pulled directly from the Utah landscape, from the red rock deserts all the way to the deep blue mountain lakes.
So when you put them next to each other, you see two cities telling a really similar story, just using their own unique visual language. Both logos mix modern design with deep cultural roots. One is all about the landscape, the other is about national symbols. It's a perfect example of how this co-hosting model creates this incredible tale of two climates and two cultures, all united under one Olympic banner.
This quote really just sums it all up, doesn't it? A constant, unified celebration where summer heat meets winter snow. It's a model that feels so different from our timeline's split hosting structure, creating a totally different rhythm and vibe for the entire Olympic movement.
And you know, it's interesting to think about what other ideas this unified model might have sparked. Take the Youth Olympic Games. In our world, those didn't show up until way later with the first summer event in Singapore in 2010. Maybe, just maybe, in this alternate reality, this constant cycle of Olympic celebration would have inspired an event like that much, much sooner.
And to think, it all started with a single vote back in 1986. One decision created a completely different world of sports, design, and global celebration. It really makes you wonder, right? What other huge what-ifs are just sitting there, hidden away in the footnotes of history, waiting to be explored?